This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to the Special Chronicles podcast, where we're giving respect and voice to people with special needs. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski. Today, we're bringing you another conversation as a part of our Unified at Work series presented by United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. On this episode, I'm excited to be joined by Samantha Alloway, Executive Director of the Alka of Illinois. We'll be talking about the Wings for All program. If you're watching the video, you will probably see it on the t-shirt I'm wearing. We'll be including a special event held at Chicago O'Hare Airport on August 16th, 2025, which by the time you all hear this, it'll be a month ago, in partnership with United's Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Together, we'll explore how Wings for All supports travelers with intellectual and developmental disabilities, hear inspiring stories from their families and crew, and learn what inclusion looks like in action, both in the airport and, as Kevin Tate says, and as we say at United, in the friendly skies. So stay tuned, because this conversation is filled with health, inspiration, and lessons we can all take into our communities and in the friendly skies. You can find today's show notes and more at specialchronicles.com. Please put your both your hands together as we welcome Samantha on Special Chronicles. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, it's good to have you on the program. And I think within the past week, I think we've seen each other a few times already.
We got to spend the whole day together too, so it was great. Yes,
it was. So before we get into the Wings for All, just briefly introduce yourself, your role as the Executive Director of the Alka of Illinois, and just for listeners, a quick backstory. I got connected with the Alka of Illinois even before my job as a service ambassador at United Airlines. But in 2020, the Alka of Illinois gave me the self-advocacy award. And so it's a neat connection. But introduce yourself. Tell us about your role at the Alka of Illinois.
Oh, wonderful. So I came to the Arc of Illinois 13 months ago as the executive director, but I have been volunteering and sitting on the public policy committee for the last 3.5 years. And the reason the Arc of Illinois has really spoke to me is because I am very blessed to have 3 amazing sons, age 12, 10, and 4.5. And my 10-year-old was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3, which absolutely changed my entire life and my understanding of intellectual and developmental disabilities. So his experience led me to want to fight for a more inclusive world. And there's really no better place in Illinois to do that than right here at the Arc of Illinois. So being here has been a great honor. Awesome.
And now, as we, the main reason why we're having you on is to recap this really powerfully impact. It was my first time with I'm sure with other United employees, the first time we volunteered with this event. But share with us how you became involved with the Wings for All event, and for those listeners who may not know what the Wings for All is, you share with us a little bit about what Wings for All is and why it's so important.
Absolutely. So I will be totally transparent. The person to tell me about it was our amazing president, Kimberly Johnson, who actually experienced Wings for All many years ago when her son was much younger. And she told me, listen, we got to get this back to O'Hare because this is a life-changing program. I can speak as a parent. When my son was small, we did take the adventure of a lifetime and flew out to Washington State. And I sure wish we had a little practice flight before we took on such an endeavor. And when President Johnson spoke about it, that was my first conversation. The second one was to reach out to Carrie at the Arc of the United States and start the process. So from there, she got us in touch with our amazing partners at United, and meeting by meeting, date by date, we finally got the banana. We got B14, 14 Bravo. How do we say Bravo 14 or Bravo 14?
Bravo 14, yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to get that date, and getting to work with Neffy just changed the game. The moment she became involved, it was full speed ahead. And Helene at Bridge was outstanding, and Polly, and we became partners. We got the date, and we just kept going. I just can't believe it's over, because it felt like months and months to make it happen. Yeah. And then boom, it was such an incredible day. So that's awesome. How we got started here.
Awesome, and I'm sure hopefully we can make this a 1 or 2 time event moving forward. I want to touch on briefly something that you said about a process, how this was a process flight. Even for myself, before I've been taking public transportation with the bus, for even like. I was born in Southern California, and my grandma, had first shown me how to take the bus. But even fast forward to 6 years ago, before I'm one of the first Special Olympics athletes that United hired as a service ambassador, and so even before, it's like I luckily only have to take one bus, but my mom and I, before my first day. We did a kind of like a practice flight, but it was a practice bus ride from my home to the airport and back, just to get. It wasn't anything official with the Pace Bus Company, but it was kind of the same type of practice one to know, even though I've had experience taking the bus, but still just to kind of know what to do, where to go, how to use the reduced venture card that I have, and all that. And so it's kind of the same type. Like I'm sure that this I know from my personal experience. Like even I wish, like I'm 36 now, but I wish even a long time ago that I had this wings for all experience. And I'm sure you probably have heard from not only parents and siblings and family members, but I'm sure a lot of the participants have had a lot of it. Have you heard from a lot of the, like, not only family members, but participants of how they've benefited from this Wings for All?
Absolutely. So I will be transparent that at this point, the emails have come from the parents, because I think they're, and it was, the outpouring was immediate. By the time I got back to my email, whatever that was, 2:00, we were there all morning. Yeah. It was wonderful. We already had 7, 8 different families reach out and say, this was life-changing. We're so confident now. Now we want to book our real flight. And that is the hope. Like United, see, like, we'll do this and we're going to book some flights. And that is really the hope, is that this practice gives families the accessibility that we feel that they're due. And I think it's a scary endeavor to book a flight. Let's say you book your whole family and you spend $1,000 on airfare, maybe even more, depending on where you're going. And then your child gets there and says, I'm not going anywhere. And we had 2 children, as we experienced, you and I together, that put their heels in the ground and said, I'm not getting on this plane. And of course, we have the incredible Captain Tate, who transformed one of those amazing children and got them on the plane. But for families, the reason they don't even take that risk is the cost associated with it. So this gives us, and they don't want to go through the trauma and the fear. And this way, they'll know. And so many families came off that plane saying the first thing, we're going to book a flight. We're ready to go on vacation. So that's probably just the greatest success.
Awesome. And speaking of that example, of that story with Kevin Tay, we'll leave our listeners. We want them to keep listening to this episode, because if you're watching the video, we'll share it on the screen with And for those of you, just because of some technical difficulties, we can't share any video clips on this episode today. But as you know, I recorded video when you made a PA announcement, as well as Kevin Tate, and so I put that up on our my personal, as well as on Special Chronicles Instagram pages, and so our listeners can go and watch those those clips.
That was definitely a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
If you would have told me I got to wear a captain's hat and speak on the PA a year ago, I would have never believed you, Daniel. Like, in what world is that going to happen? TSA going to drag me off this plane.
Yeah, well, and now with because of thanks to Captain Tate, I got to sit in post class, and so I was glad I was able to film you making it. So now you've got proof of
It was great. Yes.
Yeah. And so moving on here a little bit more about Wings for All. So my cousin's wife, they live in Parachute, Colorado, and he's a sergeant. He's a police officer, but she's a special ed teacher in I believe like the Weifel, Colorado, like western northern Colorado, and I DM'd her on Instagram about this Wings for All event, and so I'll definitely be pointing to this podcast episode, but also I hope as Aline from Bridge knows that there was a similar Wings for All in Denver, and so I'm hoping that my cousin's wife who's a special ed teacher, I'm hoping she can get some of her students and families in her special ed class involved with this in Denver.
Well, let me know, because I'd be happy to introduce you to Elizabeth. She's the executive director of the ARC of Colorado, and I can never say this out loud, but she might be my favorite executive director besides Illinois. She is amazing. Awesome. And she really inspired me to take this on too. So I'd be happy to introduce you to.
Yeah. Off air. I can share her contact information with you.
That'd be great.
So that way she'll know who to get connected with. But yeah, and then there's another off mic connection that we were texting about that we can't talk about on air right now. But it's all these connections are coming off of this event.
Exciting.
So kind of with that in mind, like with my cousin's wife and who's a special ed teacher, and I'm sure for others of our listeners who are not that familiar with the ARC's Wings for All, can you share a little bit about the mission and how it supports travelers with autism, like your son, and others with intellectual and developmental disabilities, like myself?
Yeah, absolutely. So in its essence, this program was created basically for accessibility. We believe in choice, we believe in inclusion, and we believe in accessibility. The ARC of the United States is the one who started this program. And the last time it's been here in Illinois was in 2017. So the initiative of accessibility, I think COVID really changed a lot of these programs. So it's no pun intended, we're getting the wheels up again. We're starting that again. And I think what this was really developed for is that airports in general, airplanes, it could be very overwhelming. It's a sensory overload, and the noises, things we might not even think about, just the closing of the bins above your head. I mean, it could jar me, and I don't have an intellectual or developmental disability, and it's jarring. So this is a preparation opportunity. And what I loved about United, about our captain, about the unbelievable flight crew, about you, is what was so outstanding. And you were there, so I'm talking to somebody who gets it. We stopped. That plane stopped on the taxi, and it gave parents an opportunity. This is for every parent at home, an opportunity to use the washroom, to walk in that little, that aisle small. I'll never understand how you guys get that cart through that. I'll never. You got a bowl 300 every time. The staff is unbelievable, right down the center of that lane. And to see what it's like, we had catering service on this flight. So if you wanted a dark chocolate quinoa bar, today was, Saturday was your special day. You got to try it. And the stoop waffles and the reality of the sensory and the sound and someone stopping and asking you questions. Do you want a snack? And I mean, there was one kid in the back cracked me up. He's like, I don't want to be asked anything. I was like, well, I can't promise you someone's going to, not going to ask you a question, but that reality happened. Yeah. And so parents and self-advocates aligned got to decide, is this for me or is this something I'd rather not do? And what we can say thus far is the success rate of the families we've gotten to speak to, right now, we're at 100% of those families now feel prepared to take that next step and to book a flight.
Awesome.
And that's just an opportunity for true accessibility. For
awesome.
families.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure. And it was really powerful to see. I know, Kevin, what our listeners and you, and maybe I'll have to give you a early access sneak peek to Kevin Tate's episode because you're gonna love it. But something that our listeners can look forward to. So we mind me, and I'll give you early access to Kevin Tate's episode. But what our listeners can look forward to, Kevin Tate shared a story of there was a family from India that took part in the Wings for All event, and they for many years they have not, because of their son with autism or developmental disabilities. Because of the son, they have not been able to travel back to India to visit extended family, and because of this past Saturday's Wings for All, that they now have had the confidence, the practice, and the tools, and really the confidence to be able to go back and visit family. And to kind of to have my United hat on. I mean, I don't have a pilot's hat, but just to have my United hat on, that's really what the mission of United Airlines is about: connecting people and uniting the world, and really all people of all abilities. So that story, I don't know if you talked with that family, but that's just, I don't know if you want to comment on that story.
I mean, everything we just spoke about, it really is that accumulation of truth, and we are bringing families back together. We often think our neighbors, everyone's from somewhere. And I think a human condition is we want to go home. We want to be able to see. I have family that lives all over the world, from Hawaii to Ireland to Texas to Pennsylvania. And I have the privilege of being able to just get on a plane and go and visit my family. It's a privilege because it's not accessible to everybody. And I feel United and Wings for All is making that true effort to make it a reality for so many families.
Absolutely. And I'm sure even like tools like the hidden disability sunflower lanyard, which I just got a year or so ago. We had all of our service ambassadors had a all-day training at the airport, and Helene, who you met from Denver, actually gave me one, because I have friends like in the UK and New Zealand who have been using it, but now it's just now coming to the airports and to airlines in the US, and so like even tools like the hidden, like, and I think we gave all the families one in the backpacks, and that behind the scenes tidbit, I really pushed to give all of the families and the participants one of the sunflower lanyards in in the bag that we gave them at the end of the event. But I really, because I know from my experience and friends of mine who have traveled with the Sunflower lanyard, just how much confidence that it gives. Like in addition to the confidence from Wings for All, but that sunflower, and there's a new sunflower extra cloud that's coming out that I'll point people back. If you go back to I think February of this year, I had the CEO of the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower on. So just go back if y'all just go to specialchronicles.com and find our Unified at Work series, and you can the episode was, I think it's titled "The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower," and you can go back and hear more about that. But coming back to this event, can you walk us through what happened at this Wings for All event at Chicago? What were some of the highlights for the day? How many families and participants were involved, and as well as the kinds of preparations that the airport, the United Airlines teams, and the Elk made to make this rehearsal possible?
So I think it's so important to note that the first outreach for this program was in December of 2024. So this was a 9-year endeavor. It's like, it's like the time it takes to make a baby. Like we had 9 months that we incubated this project behind the scenes. And you have to start with the Arc of the US, and then you bring in United, then you got to bring in the flight crew, then you got to bring in the staff, then you have to bring in our volunteers. I'm incredibly proud that the Arc of Illinois, we had 20 volunteers. I mean, you could see the orange. You're wearing it, which I love. I love it. And here I am wearing pink. I should be wearing a shirt too. But messed up. It was you could see us far and wide. And so we got there bright and early that day. And Neffy, I think, beat us all there. You beat us there. What time did you get there Saturday?
I got there, let's see, I woke up at 5. I got there about 7 yes. Because I need to let Helene and Polly, because they're based like in Denver and Houston, I needed to let them into the conference room. And so like because like Nuffy's only one person, and so right. I just no one like officially told me to be there early, but I just felt as doing my job to help Nuffy out. So 7 in the morning. So like I'm sure before you and everyone else came.
So we started showing up at 7:30, the director team, and I was just beyond proud of the team here at the Arc of Illinois, because there were 10 of us in attendance, only out of a 22-person staff. So almost 50% of our team showed up, because that is how dedicated we are to this event and to this opportunity. We in total had 136 participants. So we had 50 families, and only 2 weren't able to show up that morning, which is amazing considering the reality of day-to-day for people with disabilities. Everybody came in. We had the first little hiccup in the beginning that the lot we were supposed to park in was closed, and then we were panicked beyond the oh God, where's everybody gonna park? But we figured it out, didn't we? Yeah. And that is aviation travel. Like things don't always go as planned.
Yeah, well, and even like the just to jump in here, the issue with the parking, like the solution of the parking lot up that I think we told you, I think is actually, and I think some of it probably has to do with like how much United can reimburse and all that, but honestly, I think the parking lot up is an easier place to park, because it's in the same building as the airport transit that you have to take. And then even something I was telling, I think you met Sarah from our headquarters team, and something I was telling her afterwards, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead of the day, but I'll let you get back. But something I was telling her, so like we had a United volunteer and an Elk volunteer to direct people from when they got off the platform and then up the escalator, and on that bridge, and I know some people were afraid to like go on the escalator, but even like because of how big the airport lobby is, I think we had most people go down the escalator and then go, halfway through the lobby and then down another escalator and then to the group check-in. And just kind of thinking for in the future, and you might even want to make a note of this, but I was thinking once people, park in that parking lot F and get off in Terminal 1 and then go over the bridge, having the two volunteers, having two volunteers, at the top of the one escalator, and then on the other side of the bridge where there's an elevator, having two volunteers on the elevator, and then when the families and participants come, having them push the lower level button to go down to baggage claim, and that way, if you and then having another couple volunteers at the bottom and baggage claim, so like instead of having to like take the escalator down and then walk through the lobby and then down through another, if you just have everybody just use the elevator. That way, those like I even saw there was a couple of people that were afraid to get on the escalator. So to kind of both one to get rid of those fears of using the escalator, but also to make it even a bigger part to make it easier to where the group check-in is to just take the one elevator down to baggage claim, and then it's just a quick halfway walk down to where the group check-in is. And so instead of having to go up and down, it's just over the bridge, down, and then I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And it also means you're going to be on our next steering committee because you had all those ideas just waiting. So when we come back in the spring, you won't be able to hide from me, Daniel. I'm coming to find you.
Yeah. No, definitely come find me. And being on a bridge boat, I knew like I heard Aline and Polly and Nuffy talking about this, but I wasn't brought on to volunteer until I think a week before the event. So like I like when I met you and Becca, that was a few days before. And so but yeah, I'll definitely be able to help you definitely, and now that you have my phone number, you can reach out anytime.
Yes, hi. We won't bug you, but we look forward to continuing the relationship.
Yeah. Continuing the relationship. Yeah. So can you share with us what some behind the scenes moments from the? So I mean, I guess we kind of went off track a little bit, but I'll let you continue to as you talk about the day. And in a moment, we'll put up a map of that Captain Tate had sent me this morning of the journey that we went on in throughout the airport. But in continuing to talk about the events that happened, sprinkle that in with some behind the scenes moments from the day that our listeners won't normally get to see, and talking about the fun, emotional, and surprising moments from the volunteers to the families to our United Airlines teams. So if you want to go back and sprinkle that in with some behind the scenes stories.
Well, are you going to put up the map while I talk about it, or are we going to do that after?
Yeah. I can. Let me put up. Yeah, the great. Kevin Tate had to cue me in to put up the map as well. So for those of you listening to the audio podcast, go to specialchronicles.com, click on YouTube, and you'll be able to see see the map. But yeah.
Isn't this wild to look at and to think that? I can't. I thank God for aviation professionals. I swear. What I'll tell about the day is that this day has been being planned for so long. Like I told you, almost 9 months. And last week we had an opportunity to come to O'Hare to be with Neffy. We met you at the training. We had the virtual meeting. We had Dave was on there. I believe most of the flight crew was present on that training as well. So I think what made it such an amazing day is it wasn't just us meeting the families. United in the Arc of Illinois, we had to learn each other too. And we had to learn each other quick. We all got in the same space. None of us really knew what to do. Here at the Arc of Illinois, we're like, we got some boarding passes, and there were a few errors in printing the boarding passes, but guess what? United was right there to fix that and said, hey, we're going to print them correctly. Give us your ID. We're ready to go. And then to see us break into those groups, basically become the best of friends in a matter of 15 minutes, and to have the flight crew waiting there to greet the families, I think was probably one of the most amazing touches, because for families, honestly, when's the last time you've gone anywhere and had that type of access to your flight crew and your captain and your co-captain? And it made it so personal. And it took a lot of the fear away from families. And then we made our way up to, B14 and we were waiting. And what we able to do as volunteers is to walk around and talk to families. What are your concerns? What brings you here today? And for many of the families, just as we spoke of earlier, Daniel, it was simply, I didn't know if he could get this far. I didn't know if she could even make it through this whole process, having to go through security, having to put your arms up in the little tube, and would that be too confining for them? Would we be scared? But we made it this far, and so now our confidence has grown. But it gave us an opportunity to learn who the families were. How far did you travel to get here? And every single one of them had traveled, you probably within Cook County, but there are a few families that traveled 2.5 hours just to have the opportunity to come to O'Hare, because they hadn't done it. 54% of the participants had never been to the airport with their loved one, except for this program. And that it really is deflating the fear by educating families of what the reality of aviation looks like. So to think that we went from all that planning to that day, and to look at the map you just showed, and to know that we were all on that process together. We learned about the de-icing, where they would have us, we spray the plane so that we don't freeze in the air. All these amazing little details that, I as a passenger had never had that experience before or had the opportunity to learn. So it also equipped the parents. We have the participants, but the parents, now they feel like, okay, I know how to explain this to my loved one, and we're going to come back and we're going to fly. It's just unbelievable to look that we taxied that runway and then we came right back to deplane. It was great.
Yeah. It's incredible to even and even for those of us that work for United, I discovered that those on the seatback entertainment, those trivia games that you can play. Yes. I also just recently learned that on United, we just came out with having on Spotify and Apple TV on the seatback, but also under the Spotify, there's access to the air traffic control ATC, where you can, the ATC, and even that, and I didn't to be fully transparent, I didn't used to be into aviation. I had maybe one pilot friend, but
I had one pilot friend too. Yeah, I understand.
But now, now to know, 6 years working for the airline to have more. But even seeing this map of it gives for example, this Friday I'm going to be flying to DC, and I'm glad that we're pre-recording this, so our listeners are not going to know when I'm out of town, because this is going to come out next month. And so, anyways, the next time, and I'm sure the next time that you fly as well, and I'll listen to fly, seeing this map. Yes, this is at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, but even seeing this map, and yes, it's how Captain Tate had drew the path that we went from the North Port, which is where B or Bravo 14 is, and then around by Terminal 5 and Terminal 3, and then to the de-icing, and then and even Cab and Tate said that, like, because like I had a question that when we were sitting at the de-icing facility, that a couple of, and I don't know if you thought of this, but like because this was like a practice mock flight, is like, what were the pilots doing when we were at the de-icing facility? Like, were they on their phones? But Kevin Tate had said that they treated this like as if we were actually up in the sky. And so they, like, their phones all locked away. They, and even, and everything from the PA announcements, they treated it as if they were, 13,000 feet
in the air,
up in the air. And so this, like, and even seeing this map, like, I'm sure that the next time that I'm sure definitely that when I fly to Washington D.C. this Friday, and even sure the next time that you fly, when we are on the plane, on the United Airlines plane, this image is probably going to. I'm sure it's going to be in my mind. I'm sure it's going to be in your mind as well, and our listeners. We're going to visualize this map of the airport, and we can kind of know where our plane, like when you, and even I'm sure you and a lot of the listeners, how there's a lot of construction going on on the tarmac, and both from this map and seeing, you now know just when the taxi time is long, you're going to know, like, why, and even when you fly to another airport, if if you wonder, and even for these families and participants, why the taxi time is long, this gave them a really good, powerful example.
Absolutely, a real life example.
Yeah, that's so I'm definitely going to be recommended to our listeners to get if you're listening and you are not yet connected with the Arc of Illinois, definitely get connected. We'll share at the end of the episode where people can sign up for the next Wings for All, because I'm sure all our listeners are. I'm sure. Do you have like a wait list of how many? Like is there a limit of how many families, or like how does that work?
So let me tell you the next steps. So this process itself, we got it. This is almost like, I know it's what sounds like a pilot program. We were trying to see, how did this go here? No pun intended, but it was our pilot launch. And, but it's the truth, what we call it. And we had all 50 spots were full in 36 hours. Done. And our wait list was 45. And the only reason the wait list didn't keep growing is because eventually people knew it was full. We had our volunteer list full. We had to extend that. It was a very high demand, which was great. So now our goal, when we meet on Friday with United, and what we'll continue, is start sending these stories from families who are telling us this was life-changing. We need it back here at O'Hare. And so this is a great opportunity for me to say we are ready. We're ready to go. We are ready to do this again. We were thinking maybe the spring initiative, and then fall. But of course, we'll work with United on that. But they said we need to hear the feedback. Was it worth everything we poured in? And I assure you, Daniel, it was beyond what we could have hoped for. The impact has been immense. And families, just the gratitude they have to, sure, us here at the ARC, but to United, and also to the Chicago Department of Aviation, for allowing us to have this program here, and for allowing us to advocate in such an impactful and hands-on way. We don't always get to see those results so quickly. So it was very moving for our whole team as well.
Awesome. And in for when we meet this Friday, as well as the upcoming meetings, in addition to these families and participants, we reaching out to you and your team, whether it's through email or through a survey. Have you guys, again, no pun intended with Special Chronicles, but have you guys chronicled these stories to share with me and my colleagues at United, so that way, like, when we because like to know, to be able to do this again, like have you chronicled these stories, or like do you have like either a document or some type of way to chronicle these stories?
It will be chronicled. It will be very detailedly chronicled because we want this back. This was just such, so it'll be chronicled. And
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing, all these, whether it's pilot and aviation puns, or even with this podcast, Special Chronicles, all these kind of puns that we're able to make. Before we get to this, and I want to leave our listeners on the edge of the seats of this empowering passenger story. But do you, I obviously, living with developmental disabilities, I probably, the training that you and Becca gave to all of us employees, I probably didn't personally need because I've lived with it for 36 years. But, and I'm sure my coworkers at United will understand. But as the executive director of the ALC, what can our listeners, and what have you taught? Oh, like I've got a notebook in front of me, but I've got the handout that you gave us on this Wings for All and disability awareness. But what can our listeners, and what can other United Airlines employees personally learn about what intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDDR, what autism spectrum disorder is, and how best to support travelers who may face communication or behavior challenges? What can they learn about intellectual and developmental disabilities?
I want to know. I am on the call with you, so your voice is far more imperative. But what I can share is some things that we've heard from individuals, from self-advocates, my son included. I think it's really simple. Everybody, almost humans, we want the same thing. We want to be treated with respect and dignity. And just because we communicate in a different style, in a different way, doesn't mean that the effort is not important. And what we were able to see through United is that the effort was beyond, it was above and beyond, to make sure that everybody felt seen and everybody felt included. You know, there's no shame in asking, and I could speak as a parent for many years. My child was non-speaking, but he was very communicative in his ways. So I knew what he wanted before he was able to verbalize the way that maybe everybody would understand. And there was never any shame in someone asking questions, but be respectful when you ask those questions and be inclusive. And I think that this community, us here at the Arc of Illinois, we are here for just that everybody has an opportunity to live their life of choice through informed decisions. And accessibility is a really key aspect of making sure that people can make their own decisions. Now, you can cut me off and tell me if I'm way off, but I feel like...
No, you're totally right. I think for those of us with intellectual and developmental disabilities, in addition to what you've shared, something that I often tell people is that we have the same hopes and dreams, just like everybody else, that we show love to people that show us hate, that we have that compassion, and with that, that's why we should be treated with the same respect, the same dignity as any other person, even as any other traveler. And that's what, and I'm not just saying this as a United Airlines employee, but that's why, whether it's having an intellectual disability and being employed by United, as well as the amount of dignity that they give, that our customer service and the pilots and the in-flight and all the teams give to to us, that's the gratitude that, just like what you shared, that I am really, I'm grateful that this airline, like that's why the number one airline is, because of that dignity that we give to all travelers.
And you do. Yeah, you do. We love United. We do. I've always flown United. I mean, it's just an amazing airline in general. But the loyalty over here, man.
Well, and my dad, who's possibly retired now, when he was working, he used to fly on United as well. One of my job skills, in one of my special ed classes, one of my classmates, her dad worked for United, and just a few years ago, I was working at the airport, and I ran into her and her parents, and like I haven't seen it for like 17, like it's been 17, 18 years since I've been in high school, but to even have that connection. Moving on, how has, because this conversation is, again, no pun intended, has been flying by, just like the Wings for All flight that we had. It just, it flew by. We didn't take off, but it flew by. Well, how has leading programs like Wings for All shaped your perspective and approach as a leader, as the leader of the Arc of Illinois, as the executive director? How has programs like this, Wings for All, how has it shaped your perspective and approach as a leader?
Whoa. Question. I'm still so humbled when anyone says that out loud. Like, you're the leader. Like, I still am reminded, like, wow, because it is such an incredible honor, especially as a parent. It's just such an incredible honor. So for us, what's very interesting is we take on a lot of case management at the Arc of Illinois. We help a lot of families behind the scenes. We help them with their day-to-day. We help them to find the services that are necessary, the advocacy, special education advocacy, transition advocacy. A lot of the work's behind the scenes. And what's interesting about that is, even though we know we're positively impacting lives, we don't always get to see it in real time, if you understand what I'm saying. It's we know this impact is important. Like right now, a lot of our advocacy is geared towards protecting Medicaid, protecting services and home and community-based services, the Medicaid waiver in Illinois. We're geared towards that. So we know it's important, but we don't necessarily see the positivity day to day. For all of us, myself included, when we have that glimpse of we're offering something, and now that family can do what we all want to do, which is travel and have choice of where they go and have opportunities that were not there before. That type of goodness in the heart, it just drives you to work even harder, because now we could see it. And it's not that we never see it. Don't get me wrong. We get a lot of feel-good stories. But I mean, in life, you don't often see the return. The ROI doesn't come in that fast. Like, let's do this program, and in 2 hours, someone's going to walk off the flight and say, I'm going to go meet my family in India again, because I haven't had the opportunity to do that in 14 years. It just drove us. I mean, we all had the opportunity to get together for lunch afterwards, and all we could talk about is, okay, we have to do more. We have to do more. We have to do more in person. We have to do more events, because you guys give us the energy to keep advocating. It was just as a leader, I'll never forget this, Dave, because it took all of our work. It put it into one little space at O'Hare, which is not a little space, but one space, and gave us the energy to keep going in an even more meaningful way.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that what you said, and when you highlighted how it's the goodness in the heart, that made me think of you're probably seeing a lot of the ads for United's "Good Leads the Way" campaign.
Yeah.
You probably on a lot of our lanyards. You probably even saw that as well. And it's much more than just this advertising campaign that you see. Like whether it's, I think, like even during the Super Bowl, on TV, on billboards when you're driving down the highway, of course, airport terminals. It's the Good Leads the Way. It's much more than just this campaign.
Yes.
The way that how you describe this advocacy with the elk, and it perfectly ties in with what we all just experienced with the Wings for All. This goodness in the heart, that's what Good Leads the Way. Like that's what United is doing when it comes to Good Leads the Way. That's how it aligns.
Absolutely.
Now, to get to this empowering passenger story that Captain Tate, what you all can listening in can look forward to on the next week's episode. Hopefully, Samantha, if you remind me, I will try to give you an early access sneak peek before the public. But there's I'm going to put up on the screen. So for those of you listening to the audio, go to chronicles.com, click on YouTube. But can you share the heartwarming story of the young participant who originally didn't want to board the aircraft, but then Captain Tate's encouragement eventually made him on board? What was the moment like for you and the family? And describe for our listeners, because I'm recording these episodes out of order, and so our listeners will get to hear more of Captain Tate's reaction to the story. But from your perspective, can you? I'm going to put the picture up on the screen right now. Can you walk us through this empowering story? Because I was telling some of my colleagues that I hope that at least internally at United that we can this picture. There's a lot of powerful stories from this Wings for All, but this is one powerful story that I know will encourage more of our United employees of why this Wings for All is important, why we need to continue it. But can you? And I was glad that this picture that I'm glad I was able to, being tall, I was able to capture that picture, and I'm glad that you that you shared that the Elk of Illinois shared this on Instagram and Facebook, because that's just one of many powerful stories. But can you highlight and describe for our audio podcast listeners what this story and what this picture of this young man that's embracing Captain Tate?
I sure can. If I was to embrace it in one word for those who can't see it, we're just going to go with joy. It is pure joy. The reason is I won't use any of their names just because I didn't get their permission before this. This family came to us with the hopes that they can fly to Disney World. They want to bring everybody down. And he has been driving everywhere for his 14 years because he just doesn't want to get on a plane. He's afraid of it. So they got all the way through TSA. They got through the boarding. They got to the gate and they were waiting. And he decided, I'm not getting on this plane. I went over, I talked to him for about 10 minutes. Our board president, the lovely lady to the right here, that's our board president, Kimberly Johnson, went and spoke to the family. And we had 2 volunteers from United, one volunteer, and then 2 staff went and spoke to him. And he said, I'm just nervous. I'm not getting on this plane. And we tried, because you see he's got that Bears jersey on. And we're like, we already brought together the orange and the blue. You're ready to go. You're the ARC and you're United. Let's go. And he wasn't doing it. So his mom actually boarded the flight and she recorded the entire thing. She's like, I'm going to bring this back to him and showcase this is what it looks like. This is what we did. And their hope was to come back on our next event and try one more time. So we are getting off the plane. Captain Tate also had come out prior to talk to him and say, come on, buddy, get on this flight. Like, you're going to have a great time. And we thought we had him. You saw, like, right before we took off, we thought we had him. And he said, nope, I'm not going anywhere. So mom got on, mom recorded. We're all deplaning. Everybody's getting off. And Captain Tate on completely on his own. He walks over. He's like, hey, I'm going to try one more time with our buddy. And I was like, okay. So he did. He walked off, and we were still kind of wrapping things up. And all I see to my left is Captain Tate. And there he is. And he gets on the plane. First and foremost, like, he owned that plane. Like, he was about to get in the cockpit and take us up into the air. He had all the confidence in the world. We don't know if it was the crowd that made him nervous, because there were 100 and, I guess with staff, probably about 150 of us on that plane. Yeah. It was packed. So that, having the opportunity, he walks on, he sits down right in that chair, like he owned the place. I think it was like 29C. He just sat down and said, hey, this is my plane. I'm ready to do this. And we're just laughing, and he's giving high fives, and he's wearing the captain's hat. And then we all come up to the middle, and Captain here said, hey, let's take a picture. He's like, get in here. And when he just leaned in and he gave him a big kiss on the forehead, I couldn't. For us here, all we had were tears. The flight crew was in tears. The captain, I look at that smile. I mean, this was just pure joy, because it felt like he was ready. And then he told us, okay, we can go now. I'm ready to do this. So we can't wait for the follow-up to see if he didn't actually go on a real plane and go. But it was just a moment of never-ending advocacy, and I swear, just the human condition of love. That was pure love. Like, all we wanted for him was to try. All his family wanted was that opportunity, and we got it. And we got it in the most, this is going to be one of the most cherished pictures of my entire life. It was amazing. It really was.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope that you guys can. I hope you guys can frame that picture, because that's and to kind of jump off of that, and we'll have to maybe edit out this 5-minute clip, because it's a perfect story. But to jump on to of what of the impact of the story, because I hope there is follow up that he and his parents can come and join us for the next Wings for All. But this I think also it illustrates that those of us with intellectual and developmental disabilities, like this young man, like myself, it's as fast and busy paced as the airline and the airport is. Sometimes we need that extra time to process what a flight is gonna. That extra time to process what is going to happen. And so I'm sure, and I don't know what was going on in his mind, but like just kind of just based on my experience, I'm sure like he like you try to like go over in your head multiple times of what's going to happen, what's going to happen, and sometimes that fear does block you. But when you have that loving community of advocates from the Elk, when you have that loving community of airline employees like myself, like Captain Tate, that love, that's what can help to really that can give that extra push with giving those of us with intellectual developmental disability all the time that we need. Like we shouldn't be rushed to get on a plane to do something, but that like, as you know, most of the participants were able to get on the plane. But the fact that this young man's story, well, this is just the beginning of his travel story chapter. And so hopefully if he comes back for the next Wings for All, chapter 2 will be, be running on, yeah. Well, I mean, I should say safely, but you get the idea, running on to actually take flight.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the goal and the hope, and that's the outcome we always hope for. It was every good feeling you could have. That was such a moment for all of us. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll definitely have to edit out this clip. I mean, of course, we want people to listen to the whole episode, but this particular clip of this 5-10 minute story that we've been sharing, I think you definitely can. I'll share with you the edited version of this, that in addition to the picture, but this will, I'm sure it will encourage more families to, like, especially if they hear that even if their son or daughter is afraid, they still can go through this process. And it might take extra time, like this young man, but with the love of the Arc of Illinois, with the love of the United Airlines employees, you can make travel more inclusive and accessible. I know we're going to try to rush through the last little bit here, but as we have talked about this event, can you just share with us a couple of brief personal favorite memories from this Wings for All at O'Hare, and were there any particular interactions that stood out to you? Maybe it was that story that we just talked about, but
that was a big one.
I know that was a big interaction and memory that you and myself, Kevin Tate, and that all of us are gonna. I'm sure it's gonna fuel, upcoming Wings for All. But just any other brief favorite memories that stick out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, as in this role, it was amazing to see the bright orange everywhere I looked. And I think what was really amazing is we took up a lot of attention in that bright orange. And so there were people that had nothing to do with Wings for All that stopped us and said, "What's Wings for All? Like, who are you guys? What are you doing here?" And it gave us an opportunity. Like, that's another aspect of inclusion, is education. And so because we all came in there like we had something to do, families that had nothing to do with this project were asking us, and the positive reinforcement of that, of like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I have a friend, or I have a neighbor, or I have a niece or a nephew who also is on the spectrum, or who has Down syndrome, or who's going through this hard time. And oh man, we would have loved to know about this." So we could say, "Hey, we're the Arc of Illinois, follow us. Like, we have newsletters. We'll keep you updated when this happens again." So for us just to be such a strong team and be in O'Hare was great. I think what was wonderful is watching this community build. When we walked in, we were like 35 strangers, the staff from United and the Arc of Illinois. And by the end of it, we were hugging and laughing and exchanging cards and asking when we were going to see each other again, following each other on Facebook as friends. Monica and I are now besties on Facebook. Because her energy, we were dancing. It's like we all became focused, and we also felt such a deep connection with every participant and family member. So I think it was the energy, the rejuvenation, the positive reinforcement, and such a high level partnership with an airline that we trust and respect so tremendously. And we know that Chicago does too. I mean, O'Hare, we love United. And so it was a once in a lifetime opportunity that we'd like to continue for a lifetime.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love that. And brief shout out and mention to Monica. Kind of fun fact. So for those 4 of us athletes that United hired here in Chicago 6 years ago, Monica was one of the mentors that helped us out since day one. Since we when we went in for the job interview and we accepted the job, like Monica was there with us since day one. Now we don't see her that much just because of we've been here for 6 years but like she, because of her personal connection to our developmental disability community, which I'm not going to share it now because it's her story. I think she shared it on this podcast in the past, but like whole not only is her happy environment as a customer service agent was like as you witnessed, but the fact that she loves and cares for not only all the passengers but especially those of us with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I'm glad that you were able to get connected, and hopefully you guys can have lunch together. And
that's the plan. She can't. She's another one. You can't escape me now. I'm coming to get you. She was wonderful. It was the full human experience of going from strangers to becoming family to creating magic, and our goal is to make sure that doesn't end. Like I said, a once in a lifetime opportunity. We'd like to continue for many lifetimes. It was wonderful.
Awesome. So a few final points as we come to a close, because I don't know, this past hour and 6 minutes has again flown by. So now as we again, I'm not a pilot, but as our friend Captain Tate would say, as we make our descent down to the end of this episode, and who knows, maybe somebody will be listening to this podcast when you're flying in the friendly skies. Right. You absolutely you did that. I listen to podcasts in the sky, not my own, but other ones. So you all can do too as well. So what's it like being? It was Kevin Tate made his podcast debut on this podcast. And so for you, what's it like to be part of the Special Chronicles podcast, and then follow that up with why you think conversations like the one that we have had today is so important to have in public spaces? I know I've been doing this work for 17 years, but what's it like to be on this Special Chronicles podcast, and then follow that up with why conversations like the one that we had today is so important to have in public spaces?
So I'm honored. This is the 3rd podcast I've ever participated in. No, 4th. It's the 4th podcast I've ever participated in. And I'm going to say it. It's been my favorite one by far. And I'm going to tell you why. No, sorry, it's true. Here's why. You are so incredibly authentic. And the reason I think you are I really think you're an incredible person. And I'm not just saying that. I don't know for how many listening have had the opportunity to meet Daniel and actually spend time with him. Just an immediate energy and comfortability and genuinity that just doesn't come in all humans. And so you really have that. You're also a very captivating speaker because you're simply speaking the truth. The reason I think it's so important is for you as a self-advocate, you being able to present yourself as such an extraordinary professional, not just for United, but now that I know that's not even your first gig, this Special Chronicles. How many years now? You said 17 years?
This November will be 17 years.
Congratulations. And I don't know if everyone knows that Daniel actually was at 2020. You won the Arc of Illinois Self-Advocate Award. Is that correct?
Yes.
I've
got it. I've got it here. Let me show. Let me go off camera because I've got it on the other side of my studio. I will. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
I can.
I've got it. I know the green screen, but yeah, I still have it, and I don't do this work for the recognition, but I do chair. Like I've got it displayed in my studio.
It's such a, it's imperative, because I think sometimes people don't know how to advocate for themselves. They don't necessarily know what it looks like, but there are so many self-advocates in training. I believe in not just the state of Illinois, but I believe throughout the world. And you having the power to share your truth and your voice, you are encouraging, I'm going to say, an infinite amount of families and advocates to hopefully share their voice. It's the most important voice, and everything we do in disability should always have your voice or the voice of another self-advocate. And so being able to see you doing this gives me the knowledge that we should always continue with that message of nothing about us without us. We need to have the true voices here. You are a true voice. You are a true leader. And I'm honored to be here with you today. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And I've heard from many sub-advocates over the past almost 17 years who have been empowered by either being on my podcast or being a listener, and then starting their own sharing those stories publicly, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's through a video show. My girlfriend who has Down syndrome, I've actually, there's a newspaper article in the Oak Park newspaper that's hanging. I'll have to actually, if you go to specialchronicles.com, click on the George and Daniel podcast, you can find a link to this. But she has her own. She went to Triton College. She was empowered from Special Chronicles and sharing and being on this podcast platform to then start her own video. She does a lot of it on Instagram Live. I mean, she's a lot better at it than me. Like I maybe tried it 1 or 2 times, but she's a lot better at it than me. And so she's 6 months older than me. She's a lot better. Anyways, and so hopefully sometime you can meet her, because she's she's incredible. But thank you so much for those kind words. I'm still trying to find a way to come to the Speak Out Summit. I'm still trying to, and so hopefully, because I'd love to even meet Zach Anno and have him sign his book. And anyways, a couple quick final thoughts. Let me move this road to
Keep it right there in the middle. Let them know.
There we go. Yeah, let me
hold it up over your face.
Let me just keep it on the. So let me keep it in frame. Maybe I should keep it in frame for every episode. Who needs a green screen? I should just, anyways. Okay, we got one final question. Of course, we don't just want this to be an entertaining podcast. I mean, yes, as you have discovered for the past hour, it's been entertaining, but we want more than that. Just like the advocacy work of the Elk, we want our listeners to take action and to bring inclusion into their communities, just like the Wings of All. And so this final question will help our listeners do just that. And so we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity.
and the recognition of our
Shared humanity. We will not stop.
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
More divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution.
Is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So at Special Chronicles, we want our listeners to not just be inspired, to be empowered, but also to take action. And this final question that you're going to share with our listeners will help our listeners to bring inclusion into the communities, into the workplaces, into those schools, and even as with the Wings for All event, we'll bring air travel more inclusive. And so this final question, and one of these days we should share all the answers to this question, because it's amazing all the past. I've been asking this question ever since I came back from the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, and so for the past 6-7 years, I've been asking this, and it's a good call to action of how can our listeners bring inclusion beyond the airport, bring inclusion into their communities. And so you can answer this however you want, whether it's related to Wings for All, whether it's related to self-advocates, however you want to answer this, and to help our listeners to take action into their communities. So what does inclusion mean to you?
Ooh. So I think inclusion goes past just including people to say, I included someone with a disability, right? I've seen this firsthand. I think a great example for me as a mother is a birthday party. So when my son was very young, going to anywhere like a jump zone, I'm sure you've been to the trampoline places, it was an incredibly overwhelming experience for him. It was very loud, and the movement didn't bode well for him at that place in his life. So what inclusion looked like to me as a parent was Ellis wasn't just invited to the birthday party. The family made sure that there was a safe space for him to go during the birthday party as well, where when he needed to regroup, because that jumping in the rambunctious was fun for just a little bit, and then sensory wise, it got to be overwhelming. Inclusion made it that everyone there, including him, felt safe to be there, and most importantly, felt safe to be themselves. I think when we place people with disabilities into certain interactions and then expect them to mask to an extent that you're not you, that's not inclusion. I think that's just an opportunity to be there versus who you are is welcomed here and who you are is safe here. And when communities can make that the way that United and the ARC and Chicago Department of Aviation was able to pull together on Saturday, we make the world a truly inclusive place. So I think it's where you could be safe and be you.
Awesome. I love that. That's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Share with our listeners how they can learn more about Wings for All. I'm sure the wait list is especially after this Wings for All event. After our listeners, this episode will drop in the middle or beginning of September, and so I'm sure even after this podcast, I'm sure the wait list will probably continue to grow, but I'm sure that's a good problem to have. Maybe who knows? Maybe the United might need to get two planes. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But how can people learn more about Wings for All and get involved with the Arc of Illinois?
No, well, please, you can visit us on our website, thearcofil.org. It really has all of our programs and the ways to contact us. I'm very open. We're a very transparent team. If you want to email me, please do. It's simply my name, Samantha, at thearcofil.org. We are definitely collecting stories that we want to present to United. So if you're like, hey, this would really benefit our family, feel free to shoot me an email, or you'll see our contact us page also. We are involved with advocacy. We have an advocacy page, a special education corridor. You can find out about the programs we do here at the ARC, and we'll help you in any way that we can. I think that if you want to find out more specifically about Wings for All, you do have to go to the ARC of US has all the details of Wings for All versus the ARC of Illinois, because they hold that. So earlier I did Google Wings for All, and it directed me immediately to the ARC of the United States page. So we are a state chapter of the ARC US. So that'd probably be the easiest ways. Yeah.
Awesome. So for those, you have to email me afterwards, and I'll make sure to put all those links in the description below. But Samantha at thearcofil.org, the elk. I might have misspelled that, but Samantha will send that to me. And for those of you listening, do it safely. If don't write this down if you are driving. But you can. We'll put information to the Wings for All and the Elk of Illinois and Samantha's email if you guys all want to learn more. The past hour again has flown by. Any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles podcast, or just to wrap up this recap? This has been Kevin Tate. I think was on for only about an hour and 3 minutes. You have now an hour and 20 minutes, so you've now beat him. But it's fascinating, and I'm sure all listeners are going to be empowered by you. If you are taking I would say an hour and a half to 2 hour flight. This is a perfect episode for you all to listen to. And if you're not flying, then listen to it anytime, anywhere you listen and get podcasts. But any final thoughts?
Definitely. Just absolute gratitude to you, Daniel. You made the day such an incredible experience. You helped me navigate that airport. Like, honestly, I don't think anybody else could have. And then to follow up, this level of advocacy is life-changing, not just for us here at the ARC, but for everybody we serve. And all I can end with is thank you. Thank you for being a true leader, not just in aviation, but in advocacy. We're so proud, and we're so proud to partner with you. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to staying in touch, and if there's anything else at Special Chronicles that we can do to support the work that you guys are doing, or if you have any other events or conferences, we'll be happy to. My dad is the business manager, so happy to talk about how we can continue to let all listening audience know about the powerfully impactful work that the Elk of Illinois is doing.
Thank you, Dan.
So for those of you listening, just want to with this podcast, as Samantha knows, wouldn't be possible without our sponsors and supporters. So this episode is brought to you by United Airlines Bridge Business Resource Group, connecting people of all abilities. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/united, including, and I don't think I told anybody this on Saturday, but Samantha, I'll have to point you all to this on specialchronicles.com/united. With United put together, and I'm actually included in this. It's called a social story, which walks travelers with either autism or developmental disabilities on the entire travel journey, just like they experience at the Wings for All. But this gives them detailed pictures and descriptions. And so there's a link to that on specialchronicles.com/united, which Samantha, I'm sure it's going to be a resource that your families can, after participating in the Wings for All, they definitely should check out United's social story. And then this episode is brought to you by the Combat Energy Force Ambassador Program, the nation's first energy and solar efficiency education program taught by people with disabilities. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. I know. I can't believe I left that social story out all the way to the our sponsor mention at the end, because that's a great resource.
Now we have it. It's okay, and we will continue working together so we can advance that message as far and wide as you need.
Absolutely. So that's it for this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Huge thank you to our guest, Samantha Alloway from the Elk of Illinois, for sharing her experience and stories from the Wings for All program. If you would like to learn more and get involved with the Elk of Illinois, we'll put the link in the description below where you can find more resources about Wings for All through the Elk's national website. Be sure to subscribe or follow the Special Chronicles podcast wherever you listen, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. You know what to do with podcasts, listeners. Follow us, comment, subscribe to follow us on social media at Special Chronicles. You can find out, and our newsletter, specialchronicles.com. Is where you can find all those. And until next time, remember, disability is just one part of who we are, and inclusion makes us stronger. Actually, and sometimes I forget to mention that we have a merch shop. Our Disabled Voices Matter. I don't know, Samantha, if you've seen it, but if you guys all go to specialchronicles.com/shop, Disabled Voices Matter. In fact, if I get a chance to come to the summit, I'm going to try to remember to wear my merch. But Disabled Voices Matter. 60% of the profits go back to Special Chronicles. So you all can check out that. Thank you again, Samantha, and looking forward to continuing this conversation.
That's right. Thank you so much, Daniel.
And we'll cut you all next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Daniel Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.